Welcome to this edition of All About Hopkinton, the original HCAM series created to bring you the people and organizations that help make our community the great place that it is. Sitting in for Mary Arnott, I'm Jim Cousins. Now, there are a lot of groups out there and a lot of people dedicating their time, energy, and talents to improve some aspect of life in Hopkinton. I am privileged to be sitting here talking with them and sharing their stories with you. Today, I'm talking with Evan Bishop, who is the principal of Hopkinton High School. Evan, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, now we know that we've had you on before and we've heard your life story.
Yes, so,
we know where you came from and how you got there. So today, I really just want to talk about like what's happening at the high school this year and some of the things that are going on. So since we are still in September, how did things go for the opening of school?
I think the opening of school went great. We got a lot of positive feedback from our staff. We had 2 professional development days to start the year. We had some guest speakers come in. So we thought things went really well. And so far, the kids have just been outstanding. We've had a number of things going on, from night activities to football games to sporting things. And so across the board, things have been very positive. We had our back-to-school night for parents this past Thursday. And from all accounts there, the parents had a wonderful time and the teachers did great. So things are going well.
So you've had 2 professional days already? It's the beginning of the year.
What's
going on?
Yeah, so we start the year with that. That's been about, for the last 3 years we've done that. And it really gives us the opportunity to meet with the teachers, get the trainings done that need to get done, but really get in there and start to set the tone for the year. And I think it's been a wonderful change since we've gone to this. I know the teachers think so as well. So it's been very positive. So tell me a little bit about that. Like what kind of things do the teachers need to learn? What's going on? Sure. So it's a combination of we get all the teachers in the district together, and they have a meeting to kick things off on the first day. And then each individual building has their own faculty meeting. And we kind of talk about the goals for the year and the focus areas. Dr. McLeod comes and welcomes everybody back as well. And then we try to give them a combination of departmental time as well as PLC time, so course partners working together.
PLC?
Yeah, PLC, Professional Learning Communities.
Okay.
Yeah, so if the 2 of us taught 9th grade English, we would be in a 9th grade English PLC together.
Okay.
So there was a portion of time set aside for that. We also had John Dioria from Teachers 21. He's a retired principal, and he came and talked just a little bit about what education is now and the importance of the social, emotional health and well-being of our students when it comes to education. He spoke to our staff and the middle school staff together for about 3 hours on one of the days, and the staff loved his training. Yep. And then we had Missy Sturtevant came from the Safe Schools Initiative to talk a little bit about LGBTQ training for our staff and supporting students. And so, again, that was another wonderful training. So we were able to get everything done in those 2 days. When it used to be one day, I felt you crammed a ton of stuff in, and teachers' heads were spinning, and then the kids came the next day. So this gives us a nice kind of ease back into the school year.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about John, because we saw him in one of the other shows that we did, and I went to one of the workshops, and I think some of the stuff that I've seen was really interesting about that. Yeah. So, so tell us like a little bit of kind of the stuff he's telling you.
Yeah. So it's he kind of breaks it down into 3 different sections, but he's basically talking about how education has changed. From what it was 15, 20 years ago. And there's really an emphasis now on building relationships with the students. And getting through the curriculum is something that is obviously very, very important, but you got to start with building relationships. And that students are going to learn better if they feel the connection with the staff member. And so you just talk a little bit about the importance of that. We talk a little bit about the importance of making connections with the community and with parents, and they need to be an advocate as part of the process. And just really keeping that all in mind. So there's so many things now to think about as a teacher. And there's a lot of state initiatives and state mandates and the new evaluation system, and it can be overwhelming from a staff member's perspective, but he tries to remind you to keep the focus on why you got into education, which is around supporting the students.
So you're saying so many interesting things. So I'm going to get back to that in a second, but what is the paperwork like now in a school? Because everywhere you go, you always hear stuff like, oh, there's regulations and there's policies and this and that. What's it like now?
Well, it's mostly online now, so the paperwork is minimal.
Okay.
But we do our best to try to not have there be too much kind of paperwork or extra stuff that the teachers have to do.
Yeah.
The new evaluation system, I say new, it's probably been around now for 3 or 4 years. So people, I think, are getting more comfortable with it. And so there's not a lot of additional work when it comes to that. You know, there are certain things that you have to do regulation-based, but I I honestly don't think that there's too much quote unquote paperwork anymore in education. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So now back to John.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I've seen some of the stuff that's in this kind of arena, and I think it's really amazing, and I think that everybody in life should be taught some of these skills, you know, because they're just like getting along skills and understanding each other's skills.
Yep. Being passionate, being able to communicate, things like that. Very important. Yeah.
So do you think that that there has been kind of like a general attitude in teaching that needs to be addressed by what John is saying, or do you think that he's just coming in and trying to help with some of the rough spots? And
yeah, no, I think he's reinforcing what we already know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's necessarily rough spots or things that he's going to come in and we're going to say, oh, wow, I never thought about that. I think our staff is excellent, very talented. I think they know all these things. It's a matter of time, in my opinion. Getting through what you need to get through with the curriculum, but also spending time with your students. And it's a balance.
Yeah.
But I don't think he came in and told us anything we don't already know. He just got us kind of enthused about the year, get us excited about the year, saying things we already know about, but just to remind us to keep that in the front of our minds as we go through.
A lot of times when somebody says the type of things that he says about listening, active listening and reflecting, you think, of course,
of course.
I know
and it
that.
just gets you, it just reminds you of the importance. I think that's a good way to start the year as well.
Now, is he going to be coming back throughout the school year?
He is, yes. So he is going to be working with the district throughout the year. So he worked with the high school, middle school, like I said on that day. He also went then down and spoke to all the elementary school teachers that same day in the afternoon. Okay. So I think he'll probably come and speak with us about 3 or 4 times throughout the course of the year, both the administrative team as well as the teachers.
Okay. So the admin and the staff are like this, and the actual students in the school are like this. Is there any thought about trying to get these skills passed in teaching the students?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And one of our goals as a school, and our school improvement plan is around the social, emotional health and well-being of our students. So we're always trying to find ways to work with the students to try to have them find a healthy balance. And so I think there's a lot of movement in trying to get that into the teachers, into the students. I think we start with the staff members and hopefully it funnels down to the students, but there's a number of things that we're trying to do as well.
Yeah, yeah. What's school life like now for a student? I know when I was a kid, there was nothing. It was just like, go there, get your textbook, do your work, and that's it.
Sure.
But there's so much going on now.
There is so much going on, yeah. And not every class even has a textbook now.
Oh, wow.
Most of the stuff online. So what I think is a little bit different even than when I was in high school is the opportunities that are out there for students. We have over 45 clubs at the high school. We have a number of different sports teams, and I'd say the percentage of kids that gets involved is over 90% of kids at the high school. Wow. Which is great. And so, there's always something going on. Obviously, the information at their fingertips now and social media, there's just so much going on. And so, which I think is an exciting time, but it can be an overwhelming time for students.
Yeah, yeah. How do you think the workload is going? I know that, like last year, I had heard about no stress weeks, and I know that this year you were talking about no homework weekends.
Sure. Yeah, so it's tied to the school improvement goal. It's an effort that we're making. So we've had these de-stress weeks, we've called them, over the course of the last 2 years. An effort to try to show the students to try to find a little bit of balance, step away a little bit. But the feedback that we've gotten from both students and staff is that there would be an increased workload the week leading up to de-stress week or the week after de-stress weeks, which was not de-stressful at all. So working with our SMLs, our subject matter leaders across the school, which are basically our department heads, it's a fancy way to call that.
Okay.
So we've developed an idea of maybe just having homework-free periods as opposed to having a week-long homework-free period during the middle of the year. So we've instituted a policy this year that there'll be no homework on all vacations and all long weekends. So we spoke to the staff about that. They're on board. We spoke to the teachers at back to school night. They seem to be, the parents, they seem to be excited about that. So it's something we're trying. We're hoping that it works. If it doesn't, we'll continue to adjust and do what we need to do to meet the needs of the students. But it's an effort that we're making.
I think it's really interesting that kids had noticed, like, oh, look, the week before and the week after, I'm getting buried.
5 tests, I know. Yeah. Which was not the intent when we started to do that.
Of course not.
Yes, of course. Yes.
No, I think it's like a really cool thing to be thinking about.
Yes.
Because honestly, you're starting with an insane schedule, a rotating 7-day week over a 5-day work week. It's like crazy.
It is a lot, and the kids, a lot of kids are are taking some high-level classes, and there's always the pressure of what's going to happen after you graduate from high school and where you're going to go, and so there's a lot on the students.
Yeah. About how many kids are going to the high school?
Actually, I know this. We are about 1,115 or so.
Okay.
Yeah. I just counted the numbers the other day, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of kids.
Yes, it is a lot of kids.
I have, well, recently I've had 3 teenagers in my house, and just having the 3 of them, it's driving me crazy. Yeah. And I just can't imagine having like that many, teenagers. Like, what's it like as you walk around the corridors and you see all these kids?
Yeah,
and like,
it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's the reason I got into education is working with students. And I can't ask for a better group of students than we have in Hopkinton. Respectful, kind, hardworking. There's always going to be moments we have with students that you don't always see eye to eye with them, but I'll tell you, it's a great place to work, and it's a lot of fun. It keeps you young, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I work with some of the middle school students, and one of the things that I've really been interested in is trying to get kids at the high school to make short videos back into the middle school saying, hey, it's all right, I'm here, and I survived. And also, maybe I wish I was a little nicer back then to somebody, or step out and did something. And one of the things that I find really cool when I look at the high school are things like Unite. You just look at, there's a massive group of kids, like 90 kids or something like that are all there focused on helping other ones, helping other kids just, thrive and survive.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a program that we're very proud of, and I think we're entering our 10th year of having a Unite program. Yeah. And it really helps with the transition from students from 8th to 9th grade. We get excellent feedback on that. It's a pretty extensive application process for our Unite mentors. Sometimes over 200 students apply for it. Wow. So it's very competitive, and we have a group of teachers that selects the Unite mentors for the year. It's around anywhere between 80 and 90 students. And they meet with their freshmen during advisories throughout the course of the year, but just informally in the hallways, they check in and say hello and email the students. We actually have this upcoming Tuesday our first ever organization open house, where the Unite mentors are going to ask any freshman who's interested to come in the library after school and help them just get organized.
Okay,
now, there were 2 cycles into the school year, 2 rotations. Sometimes there's a lot of papers that are in the backpack, so you have to try to get them organized. So it's something we're trying, and it's just another effort that the Unite mentors are making.
Yeah, yeah. So, so did they do any, are they assigned freshmen?
Yeah, so there's usually a group of 3 to 4 Unite mentors that are kind of randomly put together by our Unite coordinator, Kristen Baldiger, who's also a chemistry teacher at the high school. And they are assigned a group of 10 to 12 freshmen. And so they meet at Step Up Day in June. As we send the whole 8th grade over to the high school. It's one of our exam days, so there's no other students there. So they can tour the building, get comfortable, meet some teachers that they're going to have. Then again, they come back in August for orientation. And then they have that meeting as well where the Unite mentors kind of be with them most of the day. And then every Thursday we have advisory, it's another 20 minutes where the upper class Unite mentors will go into the freshman advisory and work with them and talk with them and just get them comfortable with the school. Yeah.
What are some of the other student organizations that you think are? I mean, I know you just talked about there's over 40.
Yeah, it's
40
tough
clubs.
it's tough to pick a few that I would think stand out. I mean,
I'm thinking more like that might have an impact, like not like a club where somebody would go for their own personal edification and education, but like Unite is something where you're really giving back.
Sure.
I know there's a lot of stuff.
We have a ton of stuff. I mean, we have peer leaders. We have what we call Be Free, which is a club that puts on concerts after school, and the idea is you come to the event free of any substances, and so that's why it's called Be Free. It's a very popular club. Yeah. Those events are very, very well attended. But there's so many. It's tough for me to sit here and say pick one over the other. I don't want to offend any of the clubs.
Oh,
but they all are great groups and work hard. And we had our club fair last Thursday, where kids were able to sign up. And again, we have clubs that just kind of pop up. We have a student that can come in and say, I want to start this club, and we'll try to start it for them. So we're very open to starting new things, and that's why we have so many clubs, I think, at the high school.
Yeah. And Be Free is interesting because that actually used to be something different. It used to actually be run by adults, and somebody who worked for the town was running that.
That's true.
And then when that didn't continue on, like the students just kind of...
Yeah, we felt there was a lot of students that felt they wanted to continue to do it, and they felt there was a need for it. And so when, for whatever reason, I'm not sure why it stopped happening on the town end, the school picked it up right away because we felt it was very important to do that. So yeah, it's a very successful club. Yeah. Great music. You should come and check it out.
Yeah, I know. I know. So So what's new this year? Talk for a second about, I know, one thing I know about is there's been some changes in the library.
Yeah, so
what
we're
else has
excited.
moved around?
Yeah, a few things. I mean, we mentioned the homework-free periods, so that's
Yep.
something we're trying. That's one of the big things that we're looking to explore and see how it goes. We had a very generous grant from the Hopkinton Education Foundation, the HEF, to help us kind of renovate our library a little bit into more of a learning commons. We got some really kind of new furniture. We have some Apple TVs in there so students can present and work on work together. We've weeded out some of the books a little bit and donated them into the community. And so I don't know if you had the opportunity to be in there, but it just feels more almost like a college campus center at this point, which is the field that we were going for. And so we're very excited about that. The kids seem to really love it so far.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
I like the new, like the big high-backed
with the high tables and the
Yeah.
couches, and it's an opportunity for kids to collaborate together.
Yeah.
It's not the kind of the old school library, so to speak, where everybody's quiet and you're working individually. It's much more of a collaborative environment down
Right.
there. Which is probably what they're going to run into at the college level. And so,
Well, actually, although if you're going to go for that, then you should put a Starbucks in there.
we were thinking about that and actually maybe charging and getting some money for the school. But yeah, it should be interesting. Yeah, but we've thought about that actually.
Yeah.
Our life skills program that Caitlin Burke, a new staff member, runs, and Jess Bacon was the former teacher who's also at the high school now still, have started a program with our life skills students where they sell coffee on Fridays.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to both students and staff. And so we were thinking of maybe running that out of the library, but we got to do one step at a time.
Now, is that something different, or is that the daily grind?
That's the daily grind.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the daily grind. Yep. And then we are also excited about what we're calling Hiller Days. So this is something else that we're trying. I've been in conversations with a variety of different people, but mostly from my school council, which is made up of parents, teachers, and students and community members, about exploring a later start time. I think there's a lot of research out there that says that high school students perform better if they get a little bit more sleep. And so there's been a number of schools or communities in the area that are exploring a later start time. So we decided to try it on a very kind of exploratory basis. And so we picked one day a month that we're going to start school at 8 o'clock. The day will still end at 1:50. Buses will still run at regular times, so students who come in on the bus or come in before 7:20 as usual can go to the library, can go to the CAF, can go to the athletic center and shoot hoops, can work together anywhere within the building. We'll have staff members that are around to monitor those areas, but it's also an opportunity for our teachers between 7:20 and 8 to work together. So I talked earlier about a PLC. If we were the English 9 PLC, we don't have a lot of time in our schedule to look at assessment results to make any adjustments to our practice. So although 40 minutes isn't a tremendous amount of time, it's a start. And so we're trying to put teachers together during that time. And so they have a little bit of time to look at student assessment results together.
Yeah.
And then we'll see how that goes. We have then every other class is about 5 to 10 minutes shorter than it typically would be in a regular day. So we're not losing a tremendous amount of instructional time.
Okay.
So it accomplishes both maybe exploring a later start time to see how that goes, but it also allows us to get some common planning time within the schedule for our teachers. So I think it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Our first one is coming up on Friday, September 30th, so it's the last Friday of every month. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah,
Where
so
did that idea come from?
Yeah, so like I said, we've been talking about this for a while in terms of the later start time. But to go to that wholesale is a much bigger process, if you can imagine. You got to communicate with the middle school. After school activities and athletics and clubs are going to be pushed back, so you got to kind of communicate with other schools within your league that you're playing. So it's complicated, and the busing as well. So we're having those conversations. But it's a little bit off at this point. I think there's a lot that needs to be discussed and figured out if it's going to be even a possibility.
Right.
And we've been also trying to get common planning time within the schedule for teachers for years. We've had the same schedule. This is my 12th year going into high school. The same schedule since I've started here. And I think there's a lot of benefits to the schedule. But the biggest issue that I have with it is not a lot of time for teachers to work together during the day. Yeah. So that's where it came from. There's other schools that have a similar schedule. So it's not like we created this ourselves. We've looked around to see what other schools are doing and some best practices, and we're going to give it a shot.
I see.
Yeah.
So are you part of like a league of principals where you kind of like bounce ideas off?
We do, yes. I get together once a month with area principals. And it's great PD. It's great just to kind of check in with everybody else to see what they're doing, some of the good things, maybe get some feedback on a guest speaker that you may be coming in that may have spoken at another school. So I find that very useful, and it's a great group of educators. So.
Okay. So now I'm going to totally switch tracks.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about school council.
Sure. Yeah, the school council. Yeah, sure, absolutely. School council is something that every school, regardless of the level, is required to have. We meet typically between 5 and 6 times a year.
Okay.
The committee is made up, like I said, there's a parent representative from each grade. There is a community member at large that gets selected. There is usually around 4 to 5 teachers that are part of our school council, and then 3 students per grade. So it's a rather large group.
And it's one group at a time?
It's one group at a time.
Okay.
Yeah, and really the purpose of the school council is to help generate the school improvement plan for the year.
Okay.
And talk a little bit about the school handbook, in general kind of policies and rules around the school. So if anything were to change, anything were to be recommended to the school committee, a lot of times comes out of the school council. We've had this idea of exploring later start time is something we've talked about for a number of years at school council. Also homework-free weekends and vacations, or just homework periods of something we've talked about a little bit. We've also talked about senior projects, trying to get that off the ground. That was a few years ago within school council.
Yeah.
So a lot of times there's conversations that are had there, and there's people from all different stakeholders, so you get a lot of different opinions.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's difficult to gain momentum when you have so many people, but when you all agree on something, that's a great place in that council to kind of move forward and bring that out to the larger community. So,
right.
So those are just a few of the things that we've talked about. Also, our kind of our junior experience program that we've talked about the last few years, getting kids out doing either community service or a job shadow. That was something that came about from the school council as well. So those are just a few things in the last 4 years or so that I've been a part of that have been larger conversations when it comes to this council. Yeah.
So is it pretty much an incubator for ideas for improving things in the school life?
Yeah, usually the first meeting we get together and say what's working here, what's not working. We focus on things that might not be working and try to generate some goals from that for the year. Yeah.
Wow. It's like there's so much going on.
Yeah,
it's like popping over there.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. It's fun. It would be boring if there's nothing going on.
All right. Well, what's the toughest part of your job?
Ooh, the toughest part of my job. I love my job. So it's tough for me to say there's anything. I enjoy every aspect of it. Yeah. I guess like any job, sometimes it's finding the balance. There's a lot of events and things that I want to be present at, but I also want to be present at home. Yeah. I have twin 4-year-old girls that I want to be home as much as possible.
What a great time.
It's awesome. Yeah, we just started our first soccer practice this past Saturday, so that was exciting. So I guess that would be the toughest challenge, is looking at the schedule the upcoming week. And my lovely wife, she works, and so she also has a difficult schedule. So trying to balance that. Yeah. But within the building at Hopkinton, I love it. Everything about the job is exciting. Every day is new. There's different challenges. Yeah. And so. It's such a great community to be a principal at, and so just the balance, I guess, personally, the home life would probably be my biggest challenge with this job. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So if there was one thing that you didn't have to ask anybody about, if you didn't have to have these conversations with anybody, if you could just change one thing in the high school.
I don't know if there's anything that jumps to my mind, to be honest with you. We've this year, to start the year with, we've had some unfortunate circumstances with our athletic fields. So that has been something that has taken the focus of our new athletic director and just the school administration in general over the last 2 weeks. Yeah. So I wish that hadn't been the case, for our students and our community. Yeah. We are taking steps to fix that, but that's something that I wish I didn't have to be talking about. Yeah. And so that's probably the first thing that pops to my mind. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a really great place to be.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah, it's as I watch the parents kind of walking around the building on Thursday night, it just reminds me how fortunate that I am and that we are to work in this community. We have parents that are just so supportive. We really do, and the teachers work so hard, and our kids are respectful, and it's a great combination. It really is. Yeah.
It's part of a group that I call Life Changers, because you people are changing people's lives. Yeah. You're giving them skills and knowledge and direction that is going to affect them for the rest of their life. Yeah. Yeah. So you were talking way at the beginning about John Dioria. Yep. And coming in and like teaching relationship skills and stuff. Yeah. I mean, that must make it really hard, where every year there's like a whole group of people that are moving on, and you've seen them for 4 years, and now they're gone.
Yeah, you missed them. Yeah, you missed them, absolutely. But that's part of the process.
Yeah.
You know, and you get excited to welcome in the incoming freshman class. And so, you know, that's you know, part of any high school or any college really. But it's you know, to me it's a fun part of the job.
Yeah.
You get to watch kids from over the last 4 years kind of grow and mature, and then go off to school, and you know, and you hope that you've prepared them and that they're ready to move on. And I think this community does that as well as anybody. So, you know, I think that's a fun part of the job, to watch them go off and be successful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, hey, listen, I really thank you for the work that you do for our community.
Oh, yeah, thank you for having me. This
really
has been
awesome.
Great, yeah.
All right, we'll catch up with you again.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us for this program and hearing about this wonderful school that we have in our community. For more information about the high school, visit their website. And for more information concerning All About Hopkinton, find us on hcam.tv. If you or someone you know is having an impact on our community, we'd like to hear about it. Send an email to jim@hcam.tv, and perhaps you'll find them sharing their story right here on All About Hopkinton. Sitting in for Mary Arnott, I'm Jim Cousins, and thanks for watching.
Welcome to Hopkinton Coffee Break.
A very special dessert done by a woman from Hopkinton that I've started using regularly.
We had your residents participating both as vendors and as shoppers, and that was so much fun.
Real Hopkinton Housewives. If you're on Facebook, you will have a blast. Thanks for joining
Cheers, guys.
us. It's been a great,
Thank you.
Yeah, good to see you
See
too.
you guys.
Bye.
Just a minute, folks.
It's Dive-In Drive-In time, and we got a great Western for you today.
Dive-In Drive-In is a new program featuring the HCAM staff's favorite B-movies. We hope you enjoy these treasured films of yesteryear.
Even if we don't get paid, there ain't no job we trade. We're hauling freight and things that ain't no longer Santa Fe.
So check out the HCAM TV website at hcam.tv for movie days and showtimes.